If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Well, this episode is all about me. Me. Okay, really, it's not about me per se, but it's about the me movement. And I'm not talking about the Me Too movement. I'm talking about the repetition that you're seeing in society now with me, right? We just covered on this channel the Taylor Swift song, Me. Obviously, there was the Me Too movement. You're seeing a lot of this self-empowerment, and the roots of all of this stuff come from Freemasonry and come from Satanism and the occult. This is how they're going to convince people, or I shouldn't say this is how they already are convincing people into this self-empowerment, self-worship type of mindset, which is one of the reasons it's so difficult to wake people up. Because again, remember, everybody is about me, thinking about themselves. They're too smart. They're too this, they're too that. And when you increase the pride in a person and the ego and that mindset that the Masons have, because remember, the Masons are taught that they're their own gods, that they're empowered, right? Make men better men. That type of mindset. That is now filtered into today's society, and that's a dangerous thing. Because not only does it create a society of selfish people, but this mindset of me really is just a complete trickery of the sheep out there, the sheeple. Because they're thinking in their own heads that all the decisions that they're making are their own decisions, right? By constantly regurgitating these sayings, be your own individual, individuality, be you, be who you are, right? Whenever we see the trans agenda pushed on TV, what do we always hear them say? Oh, it's great. I think it's wonderful that they're being who they really are, huh? Right? And the purpose of this is to keep people convinced that they are being individuals, that there is this illusion of choice. Oh, they're deciding between the left and the right. They're deciding between Kellogg's, Frosted Flakes, and Cheerios. All of these things they want you to, they perceive, or they want you to perceive that you're making these decisions. But in reality, what they're doing is they're trapping people in this mindset. So people are convincing themselves that all the decisions they're making are their own. But in reality, they're being socially engineered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, don't forget, this also, not only with Freemasonry, goes back to Aleister Crowley's teachings. Because the me movement and the me mindset is no different than do what thou wilt, right? Do what you want. Let them do what they want. Let them do what they want. Remember, everybody's allowed to do what they want, but everybody's a hypocrite. So everybody can do what they want except for people like you and me, right? Except for Christians, because we're hateful. Oh, there's a difference between individuality, doing what you want, and feeling self-empowered and all that stuff, and them being a hateful person, even though all they do is hate on people like us, right? In their head, they're like, no, I'm not hating. And in reality, none of us are hating on anyone. No one's, well, I mean, some of you are wishing death on a lot of these people, and I laugh because at this day and age, who can even blame anyone? Things are getting so out of hand. But it's so important to see this stuff because if you have kids, if you have friends, you could see, this is another thing you could see the repetition with. That's why, Taylor Swift's song is called Me. That's why it was the Me Too. And you just constantly hear people talking about themselves, worrying about themselves. And this is just to continue to convince the masses out there that everything they're doing is their own decision, because too many people are waking up to the fact that they're being socially engineered, right? Just like I've said a trillion times on this channel. The trends that we see, why do they become trends? Why all of a sudden is this pair of sunglasses cool and this other pair of sunglasses dated, right? Why are the 80s sunglasses back in as cool? Because they tell you the trend. They tell you what to like and what not to like. Who's the one that decides when it comes to fashion? Like, this is what's in this summer. And everybody, and mainly this, well, I would say mainly this works on women, but unfortunately men have become so, self-empowered and selfish into themselves that they're grooming themselves more than women are. And they're into this whole fashion movement because they're being socially engineered to turn men into women and to make men weak. And that's the society we live in, right? We got men who are wearing jeans that are tighter than professional wrestlers' tights. I mean, you see some of these guys, I don't even know how they breathe. I don't know what they're doing with their balls, but, a lot of these guys probably don't have them in the first place. But we're talking tight clothes. Anyway, that's a little bit off the subject. The point being, they're the ones who set all this. They're the ones. But by creating a movement about me and self-empowerment and individuality, these are all trigger words that you'll hear all the time. You'll always hear these celebrities and they'll say, you can do whatever you want to do, right? Ooh, we live in the land of the free. So people convince themselves of this, but they don't see the reality as it's unfolding in front of us, that we're actually living in a controlled matrix with the illusion of freedom, the illusion of choice. And by creating self-empowered people, you see, the problem is that people hear that and they go, what's wrong with being self-empowered? I mean, what's wrong with focusing on you and being your own individual? Well, there's nothing wrong with being your own individual, right? But it's almost, it's such a hypocritical, stupid mindset that people walk around and they're like, I'm being me. Be you. It's like, who else would you be? But don't you see how obvious it is? How many times do you hear a celebrity go, be you, okay? Focus on being the best you can be. It's like, what does that even mean? You wake up, you're yourself, are you not? But in reality, people aren't themselves because they're just socially engineered robots. And again, this ties into Masonry. This ties into the satanic teachings, this do without wilt mindset. Because remember, Aleister Crowley's teachings, this do without wilt mindset shall be the whole of the law, right? And the law under love. The Antichrist coming in the name of love and selfishness and self-empowerment. This is what they're preparing people for. And that's why you see a lot of these teens, a lot of these millennials, I mean, the way that they act and behave, and listen, if you're somebody out, it doesn't mean you specifically, but I'm saying the overall culture, the overall society that we live in. And people have just lost their minds because they literally are convincing themselves that, I could be the next, the next big rapper, the next big rock and roll star, or the next George Clooney. In reality, you cannot be. But that's the whole goal for them, is to keep you running in the wheel, the rat in the wheel, the rat in the wheel. Because you're just running in circles for your whole life. And all it ends up doing is creating anxiety, failure, chasing something that you can't have. It's like being in debt, right? It just builds up and it builds up and it builds up and wears you down. And it wears you down so much to the point that you actually stop caring. This creates depression and all this other stuff. So this is how they want to keep people trapped in this matrix. And that is why you constantly are hearing this me mindset and this me movement. Because they know by doing this, they're actually convincing these people out there that they're making their own decisions when they're just being socially engineered 24 hours a day, like I said earlier. Because all the things that they think that they're doing, like, oh yeah, and oh, I got to go to college, and oh, I have to work Monday through Friday for 50 hours a week and not question it and say, isn't this too many hours? Or isn't it this, or isn't it that? No, that it's normal. Oh, it's a work ethic. This is all social engineering. But with the me movement, with the me empowerment, and getting people to be so prideful and so into themselves, they forget or they don't realize and they block out any notion at all that they're being socially engineered. Because if you go up to them and you say, listen, we're in a controlled system, these are the people who go, oh, shut up with this conspiracy stuff. That's because they've been empowered in their own mind, that they dismiss anything you say because their egos are now inflated, right? Oh, they've gone to college, so they know so much more than everybody else. Even if you've gone to college, even if you went to college for, got a master's degree, it doesn't matter. They don't want to hear it. And that's because of the engineering that they've been put through. So again, Masonry, they teach that they're their own gods. Okay. We see this even in the Talmud and the Kabbalah, right? The mysticism books, the empowerment. right? And this is also another way that they defy God, where they believe that they can overpower God. Remember, with transhumanism and all this stuff that's going on, they believe that they're winning on Judgment Day. That's how delusional these people are. But they've got everybody so worked up. Ooh, the technology and transhumanism, and we're going to stop, the end days, and we're going to defeat God. These people really believe that. And the Masons really believe that they're their own gods, just like these celebrities believe that they're, these Egyptian gods reborn on earth. It's insane. So the me thing is something you're going to see more and more of, along with those trigger words, the individuality words. When you hear that stuff, realize what they're trying to do to you. They're trying to engineer you. That's why you constantly hear these people regurgitate these expressions that make no sense whatsoever. Oh, be you. Be yourself. Who would you be? If you're not being yourself, who would you be? But in reality, again, all these people aren't being themselves. They're being who they're programmed to be through the television, through the music, through the influencers out there that are influencing them. And they're just products of social engineering. I thank you for listening to today's show. Don't fall for me and the me movement. God bless all of you and your families.